Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Anything Wrestling Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are back here today with another episode. It is another triple threat elimination match going on. It is the Shant, Dan the Man.
Excuse me, but my name is the Commish, and I will be the advocate of this podcast.
Today's episode brought to you by Slim Jim. Snap into a Slim Jim. Eat me.
And if you want to catch all your favorite WWE programming, you can catch it only on the WWE Network in HD for a non-negotiable but very reasonable price of only $9.99. Anyway, we are back here today discussing another idea or concept in the WWE. Actually a very popular one. I feel like it used to be more popular back in the day. Now, not as much. Some people are trying to keep up the prestige of it. We are here today to talk about tag teams in WWE. Now, I want to know from you guys, what does the term tag team mean in a WWE ring or outside of a WWE ring?
Well, I'll tell you what tag team means to me, playa. So for me, holla holla, tag team is it's a group of guys, or I guess in some cases women, but it's a team of 2 or 3 people that you tend to see with an established rapport already.
Or if you ask the NWO, 70 people?
Yeah, or 70 people. Yeah, I mean, who's counting?
Including Disco Inferno.
And Virgil.
Honestly, those 2 are my favorite members. And so you see established tag teams where they build this backstory, like Edge and Christian, the Hardys, the Dudley Boys.
You mean the Dudley Boys?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Or you have your mishmash tag teams that they throw together sometimes, like the Shawn Michaels and John Cena, or anybody.
The Rock and Sock connection.
Rock and Sock, Hulk Hogan and Edge. You just have these teams.
Steve Austin and Triple H.
Yeah,
Steve
the one-man
Austin
power
and
trip.
Shawn Michaels.
But they a lot of times will do the mishmashes to try and get one person over using the fame of the other person, like Hulk Hogan and Edge. But it gives you, the established teams give you a nice baseline of characters that you care about, that you see work together, and they've got a really good rapport.
Yeah.
And that's what they build on.
I mean, it works out very well because, I mean, half the time you have like those odd pairings that do win a championship together, or you have like that synced pairing of teams where it's like they know each other like the back of their own hand. You know, they have the great rapport. They know they each have their own finishing move individually that they use to their advantage in their matches, and they have a combination move of their own.
Hopefully it's not just a bunch of super kicks.
Or in some situations, like with Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, both of your single finishers become your tag team finisher.
And when you sync them together, my God, they can do some damage.
If you did that in real life.
I just think, okay, so with one pairing of tag teams, like the Brothers of Destruction, Kane and Undertaker, you can't really sync them because they both have the same finisher.
And they can do it all at once.
Yeah. Even though I think the Undertaker has the advantage of the Last Ride and the Hell's Gate.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But yeah, tag teams to me mean that it's like you're always going to have like that team that holds a championship or that wins a championship to show like, hey, we're the best team as opposed to individual set. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. That's how I've always seen it. I mean, even from like the 80s to like now. Like nowadays, you have teams where it's not just 2 individuals. You can have a team of 3, like the Shield or the New Day, but they sync off like, 2 of them will wrestle out of the 3, or all 3 will wrestle and it's still considered just a pair of a tag team, which is really fucking odd.
The Freebird rule, but kind of tuned up.
In the name of the Father, Son, and the fabulous Freebirds. Shout out Camp WWE.
A tag team to me is, I've said it before, I feel like back in the day, in the 90s, it was a little bit more had a little bit more prestige than it does now. Now I feel like, hey, if they feel like two people are just somewhere in the card not really doing much, hey, we'll just slap you two together. However, NXT has done a really good job of, grabbing two people, whether they're indie wrestlers, putting them together and making them an official tag team.
Maybe we should ask Jason Jordan about being thrown together with random people.
Sure. I wonder what he's doing nowadays.
Does it really matter? Anyway, so let's get started. I want to hear from you guys. First of all, when the words tag team are put together just like that, when someone says tag team, what is the first group or the first team that you think of?
I'm gonna say the very first team I think of is New Age Outlaws, or the Legion of Doom, or the Acolytes, or like I said, the New Day, or the Shield. There's a lot of combination of teams I can think of. I'm not gonna mention them all because I could go all day, but you guys should mention some.
When I hear tag team, the first ones that come to mind for me are the ones that made the TLC match famous.
Yes, exactly.
I jump immediately to Edge and Christian, the Hardys, and the Dudleys.
Yep.
Are there others that have had an impact on me and the industry as a whole? Yes, but those are the three that stand out to me personally.
Yeah, I think Dudley Boys would have to be like the first tag team where someone says a tag team. I think of Dudley Boys just because their name is synced, their attire is synced, everything, their moveset, they truly have everything that a tag team should have.
And they've been around forever.
Yeah, for a long time. Stretching outside of the two-person tag team, who comes to mind when you think of? It's a tag team, but there's more than two people. There's 4, 5, 6 people. I think DX would be one of the first groups that comes to mind.
I would say DX also, or the NWO, just because it seems like at one point
70 members.
Anybody can be a tag team in that collective group of everybody.
Is your hand okay, Dan?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just remembering the Four Horsemen.
The Prestige. The elite of the elite.
It's
apparently.
Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen.
Woo!
Nature boy.
Woo!
What?
Flair, leave that bear alone.
Oh, jeez.
We're just going to keep dropping in Camp WWE.
Okay, I really got to get caught up in
We've told you it's a good cartoon. Sick and twisted, but funny as fuck.
Yo.
which is something that WWE desperately needs now. How do you guys feel as of recent? I'm talking, let's grab from 2010 to now. The idea of a tag team. I think that the first two groups that stand out would be New Day and The Shield from the 2010 to now.
I think that they kind of dropped the ball with tag teams there for a long stretch. I can't pinpoint exactly when it happened. I know that they did the tag title splits back in the day. And then didn't they refuse them and then re-split them apart?
I think so, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so now we've got the Raw and SmackDown tag team
Yeah.
champions. But it was when they fused them back together, or at least they had them carrying all the belts at the same time, like Jericho.
Yeah.
That I think you were seeing an influx of, we're just going to throw two people together.
Yeah.
You didn't really have established tag teams throughout the company. And I think they've gotten a lot better now, because now you've got, like, if we just go through and name some of the active groups, you got New Day, you got the Usos, you got Bludgeon Brothers, Authors of Pain, Insanity. Down in NXT, you still got Undisputed Era, who I don't know if they're going to be like a long-term thing or not, but there's a lot of teams going right now, so I think there's some lifeblood there that can be tapped into, and they're doing okay right now.
But the question is, are they doing a lot with these tag teams? Because, I mean, let's be honest. AOP, I feel like, NXT, they were great. The feuds that they were having with Revival and Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano were great. Then it's like 6 months of just, local competitors. not going anywhere. I mean, recently they were tagged. They're managed by Josh Maverick, which let's see where this goes. I don't know where it's gonna go, but it just seems like with tag teams, I feel like there's like a little bit of like a cringe nowadays, where it's like once they come to that main roster, you're like, okay, like I know we praise SmackDown all the time, but it's like Sanity already is kind of.
They've kind of already fallen
Yeah.
away. Can I just say real quick, I was not aware that Drake Maverick was Rockstar Spud.
Oh yeah.
Was what?
Rockstar Spud from TNA. Mm-hmm. I read that in one of the articles I was going through online, and I was like, wait, what?
It's kind of hard to picture it at first, but then you're just like, holy shit, that happened in his career. He really did that, son of a bitch. But I personally think that it's slowly coming back in 2018 because it seems like nowadays it's like singles competitors are great to have, but it's becoming a thing where it's like we have a lot of them.
Yeah.
Why don't we have tag teams anymore that still work? So obviously we have like all these teams starting to come up, starting to wrestle again, starting to make the tag team division what it should have been always, that prestige. But I think from 2010 till like early this year, 2018, it's kind of like it would dwindle, or be like, yeah, we still have tag team titles, on both Raw and SmackDown, but it's like, yeah, anyone can hold them, but we're not really pushing it as much. But nowadays, I think because of teams like the New Day and Shield and what do they call Sheamus and Cesaro again?
The Bar.
The Bar. Like they're making it relevant.
Yeah.
They're making it stand out. So it's like you want to pay attention to tag teams again. You want to be invested in the team dynamic because let's face it, we can watch a bajillion AJ Styles, Samoa Joe matches, and at one point, like, God, just put them together if they really hate each other that bad. Let's see what they do damage-wise together. Or we can watch Roman constantly try to get over. But, oh, wait, we put him back in the Shield. He can shut the fuck up now and just let Seth and Dean do all the talking.
No, I think we are in sort of a low tide right now with tag teams, not due to lack of presence, but due to lack of attention. Because as we've discussed on other episodes, like Raw is real heavy on those 6 guys. Like if you look at the episode from yesterday, you have a bunch of stuff. You have like the week before
2
and
backstage
this week.
segments.
Yeah, you've got
2
like
matches,
6 or 7 segments focused on just these 6 dudes.
1 promo.
And then you have the Elias Kevin Owens thing. I guess there was a Divas match. I think the Authors of Pain had a thing, but that was mostly it. Like you didn't really get any focus on tag teams. You get more over on SmackDown, I think, because like we've talked about, SmackDown finds a way to actually give attention
In 2 hours.
in 2 hours.
Well, not even. It's like an hour and 45 with commercials.
But they find a way to give better attention to the greater picture, the whole picture.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the problem. It's just that they're not taking the time out of their 3 hours on Raw to make you care.
Well,
He's not wrong about that because honestly, like, if you think about it, sometimes you're just not as invested as you can be.
Well, I also think some teams, the first couple weeks, okay, we got something, but then they're. For example, let's talk about the women for a second. The Riot Squad.
Yeah.
The Riot Squad first came in, and they were beating up Sasha and Bailey, I think. And okay, we got something, and then next thing you know, week in and week out. The same thing happened with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. Like, yeah, Paige kind of had to be sidelined because of her injury, but I felt like you could do something with the two. But again, it's like both right now, forgive me, have just become jobbers essentially.
Well, I think Riot Squad did just get a little shot in the arm as we're leading into.
Super Showdown?
Yes. Because.
Wait, where can you find Super Showdown?
You can find Super Showdown only on the WWE Network at 2 in the morning for a non-negotiable but very reasonable price of only $9.99.
But anyway, so I think they kind of got a shot in the arm. Did you watch the match with Ruby and Ronda? I know you're not high on her, but did you watch at least the highlight clip if you didn't watch the actual match?
I did what it seemed like. It seemed like a Roman Reigns match where Ronda's getting her ass kicked, and then the last minute and a half she gets a comeback and wins.
Okay. Well, what I'm getting at is that you had that little stint there when Ruby was on the shelf for a couple of weeks, where they were like, "Oh, Liv and Sarah can't get a win without Ruby. Oh no!" And then Ruby comes back, and Ruby's like, she comes back as basically the matriarch of the faction, and suddenly they're having more success. And then you watch her wrestling Ronda, and she actually got some decent offense from what I saw.
Ruby Riott is great. I mean, bar none.
Now,
She's
obviously,
awesome.
they're going to lose at Super Showdown, but
That's beyond obvious, right?
I mean,
Oh, I have no comment on Ronda Rousey right now. She's
well, no,
overhyped.
I think the term that I used last time was that it's Roman Reigns obvious that she's gonna win.
Roman Reigns obvious.
That's
actually a good.
I'm gonna quote your girl, overhyped rookie
Ruby Riott.
of the Riot Squad.
Yeah, they're showing some new life from what they had. Unfortunately, they're about to go into this match where I don't know if they're going to get squashed, but they're not going to win. And no offense to Brie, but let's watch the feet this time and Liv. Keep your back straight,
Please.
but
And Brie, keep your eyes on what you're kicking.
yeah, that would help. That's a rule of stage combat.
Keep your eye on the
I
ball.
will put the fault on her for that portion of it. But either way, yeah, no. So you don't have a lot going on with the divas, or sorry, the
Yeah.
female superstars, in terms of tag team stuff. But I think there's a lot of tag team blood in the body that is WWE right now. It's just not
Being used.
being utilized.
It's a thing that it's like you can utilize it, but unfortunately on Raw you don't set it up so well. But on SmackDown it seems to be working great. Again, referring always back that SmackDown's become the better show. It's the truth, but it seems like with teams right now, they don't have as much time for everybody. Back in the day, when you had we'll go back to the Attitude Era. When you have the Outlaws, the Acolytes, Rock and Sock Connection, New Age Out. Did I say New Age Outlaws already?
Didn't Age Outlaws earlier? I mean,
You said it
they were
earlier.
the one that came to
Oh,
mind.
okay. Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys, or the New Brood, whatever you want to.
Hey, their
They
theme
will.
song is great.
What is wrong with you?
Last time you guys said that theme song was not good.
because it's not.
Sorry, pal.
You're the only one that loves that theme song.
And
But-
along with the rest of the WWE universe,
Did they say so in the comments?
go and YouTube the Brood right now. The Brood theme song.
Right now, we're in the middle of an episode. Maybe later.
Anyways,
Stop
but yeah,
the episode.
You had a lot of teams then, but you still were able to give them time, and you had a lot of storylines that worked. Like, oh, who's in it for the tag team titles? You have so many teams that want to compete and like freaking battle royal elimination for number one contendership, or you have mixed teams like X-Pac and Kane, Rock and Sock Connection, and they still ended up winning tag team championships for like whether it was a couple weeks, couple months. You were able to distribute the belts so easily, but still make tag teams great. Nowadays, it's like, it's good where it's going, but it could be better. I personally think that.
Now, I will play devil's advocate in that regard real quick and say we should also keep in mind that back in the day when you had X-Pac and Kane and Rock and Sock Connection, once SmackDown came into existence, you had 4 hours a week dedicated to the same people. So then it was like a really long episode of Raw. But the problem is now you have 2 hours dedicated to twice as many people. And so trying to keep all those people relevant, like we said, SmackDown's finding a way. I don't know why Raw can't, but it's it's sort of a little different beast than it used to be.
Or Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
One team that I feel, because a lot of times it seems like when a team is faced and they go to heel, it's pretty much the same thing. Only the name of it now is, hey, they used to be a face, now they're a heel. One team that has done an exceptional job of making a transition is the Usos. At first I was like, okay, you've been face all this time, now you're a heel, sure, we'll buy it. But no, they come out the next week, no face paint, dressed in all black and white, a new vernacular, new way of speaking to the audience, like new morals, new values. And I'm like, that's what you need to do. That's the definition of a tag team, one that can evolve and become something else.
Yeah.
When it comes to face and heel, what do you guys think about that transition? Because I feel like nowadays there really is none.
Nowadays, it seems like some pairings work when it's two individual competitors becoming a team. Say you got two heels like right now, Dolph and Drew. Individually, they're heels, but you would still cheer for them, and they're great individually. Putting them together recently has been the greatest thing, I think, in a while. And they sell it so well, not only as individuals, but they also sell it very well as a team. And they're dominant. I mean, granted, they have, the monster among men, but they're still a dominant tag team just on their own.
Go. It's good.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, going back one more time to Raw from right before this episode, spoiler alert, during Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre's match, Dolph's music hits, he runs down, he slides into the ring and rolls immediately out, which is just enough to distract Seth to turn right into a Claymore. It was clean. It was a very clean thing, and it proved to the point that those two are an effective team together, even when they don't need to be kicking the hell out of somebody.
And even back in the day, you used, right at the formation of the New Age Outlaws, you had a horrible gimmick that Billy Gunn had as Rockabilly with the Honky Tonk Man. God, that was so horrible.
Or Bart.
And then, no, he was away from Bart. Bart was doing his own stupid boxing bullshit. That was the worst thing, by the way.
Brawl for all.
I hated that so much.
Which you can relive. I don't know if you want to, but you can relive on the WWE Network for a non-negotiable, but very reasonable price of only $9.99.
But skip over it because you'll want to.
Butterbean.
But then you also had the Road Dogg go back to his character of just being like the roadie. And then the Road Dogg came up to Billy with the idea of hey, we would work great as a team. Ditch the Honky Tonk Man. Let's make it work. And they were a heel tag team to begin with, but you grew to love them. You grew to love how badass they were together as a team before they joined DX. Even though they would help DX occasionally back in the day, and then eventually after Shawn quote-unquote left, even though he had a back injury, they synced very well with Triple H and X-Pac. And then obviously, they were still heels, but they knew as a team individually, we don't work very well individual. But sometimes when we do have individual matches, even though we're still a tag team, you can have, Road Dogg be sidelined and China interrupt. You'll just see Badass come in and do a famouser, and Road Dogg gets the win, or vice versa. And that always works sometimes with certain people that are individuals that end up as a team, because you get that unique ability to sync two guys together to work very well, which nowadays I think, like you said, with Drew and Dolph, that's the best way to do it now.
Yeah.
You really get it a little lackluster, unfortunately, sometimes with the Shield, because it seems like when Roman needs to get his ass saved, it's Seth doing the work. If not Seth, it's Dean. It's never Roman saving them. Granted, anyone can do a fucking Superman punch. Here's a question I want to pin down for you.
So you want to take a survey?
Hey yo. What would you say is the best finishing move that you've seen a tag team do?
3D.
Dan, what would you
That's
say?
a good one.
I'm a big fan of cutters, so and the Dudley Boys, man, I think could come out of nowhere.
And plus, I think like you can also do it like even like outside of the WWE, like obviously at a pool party. That's like the best way to do it. You 3D someone into the pool that doesn't want to swim.
That would be messed up.
It's fun, trust me.
Are you speaking from experience?
I've done a 3D to somebody into a pool.
I'm trying to think of
Is there
other-
any
other-
archival footage of this?
Unfortunately, not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of which other ones were like other than like the Doomsday Device or the Heart Attack
That was the one I was gonna mention.
that were like a legitimate team finisher instead of just like the sequence.
What about sequence? Because when you say sequence, I think of Super Kick and Pedigree, DX.
That's one of them. I think of the Hardy Boys, the Twist of Fate,
Fate
and the
and
Swanton.
Swanton Bomb. Yeah.
Swanton, yeah. I've always loved that with Matt and Jeff because it seems like you get Matt hitting the Twist of Fate and then Jeff's already waiting for it.
Yeah.
Two-part move.
With Edge and Christian, they never had one that was in sync because
Well,
Both
it's
the
Concerto. Yeah.
well, yeah, but before they came up with that idea in the Attitude Era, Edge had the downward spiral, and then Christian had
I'm prettier.
He had a different name for it. No, it was I'm
I'm
Prettier
Prettier,
Than.
yeah.
He switched it to Kill
Kill
Switch.
Switch, Engage.
which, by the way, is a good band.
Yeah, see that plug right there?
Which, by the way, CM Punk did use one of their songs as his theme.
So did Randy for one night only.
But I do really like the I don't know what to call it. Do they have a name for it? The clay zag.
The clay.
No.
I think it
Oh.
says the Claymore into the zigzag is how Michael Cole usually says
Well,
it.
they should name it, but no, I would say that's probably one of my favorite new team ones.
Your most despised tag team would it be?
Now, are we talking like a team that was so good you hated them, or a team we thought
No,
was
like
such
you
trash?
just hate it from the get go. Pure trash.
Didn't Snitsky pair with somebody that...
Heidenreich?
Yeah, I hated that team.
Is that what did those two pair together?
I think
It was
they did.
it wasn't an official pairing. It was more like,
But
oh,
it-
you're in a match. I'll come and I'll help you out because we're going up against the BOD.
That's
Yeah, but
funny.
still, it's just, maybe because I hate Snitsky.
Oh, Snitsky.
There was nothing ever there.
That's why I hated him.
I'm trying to think now. Most despised tag team. Like just a tag team where you're like, I'm not buying this. I hate these. This idea, this concept of them being a tag team.
Is it bad that, like, even though they are a tag team and they've always worked that way, I don't like them?
Who?
The Headbangers. They never had a solidified gimmick to me. Yeah, they're literally headbangers who were into rock music, and they had their one synced move, the, what was it, stage dive?
I think so.
It was something like that, where it was a power bomb, and then one of
leg
them does a
drop?
leg drop. But I just never liked them as a team, because at one point it's like they were doing their own thing, and like next thing, oh, you guys just make fun of your opponents. It's like, really? You can't have them come up with something creative? That's what you're gonna do?
How did you guys feel about any of William Regal's pairings?
Tajiri?
Him and Tajiri, and
He hates Tajiri so bad. Oh man.
didn't they pair him up with Eugene for a minute too?
Yep.
I think he liked Eugene though. I always felt bad for Eugene.
I've heard
Eugene
good things
would-
about Nick.
That's true.
So
Nick?
Nick Dinsmore.
Oh,
Maybe
that's
his
his name.
Because isn't he? I don't know if he's currently working down there as a
I
trainer.
think he's
at
like a
Performance Center,
agent,
but-
producer or something.
but
I just
I've
think
heard good things about him.
I just think always whenever William Regal got a new partner, it was just funny as fuck to because it was.
I think
he-
it was
doing-
it was intentional.
Yeah, and Vince just wanted to fuck with him, even though on camera, it's like, yeah, you know, I'm putting you with that. And like, to Regal always like, oh, yes, Mr. McMahon, I'll do whatever you say.
And then Vince leaves, and you just see the anger on his face. Because Regal's he was such a straight-laced character that then you throw him in these odd couple pairings, and he's just like, son of a bitch.
I wouldn't mind William Regal getting like one more run, like a legitimate run.
I watched the promo from before his last match down at NXT, where he talks about his one regret being that he never became world champion.
Yeah.
He was good though, man. Regal's solid.
Can I say the Rock and Sock connection was one?
Okay, wait, liked or didn't like?
Did it?
Okay, I gotta bring that up. Why? Why don't you like that
Why didn't you like the Rock and Sock?
connection?
I just felt bad always for Mankind. I felt bad for Mick Foley. Like, I felt like other than in his character than being the suck up to the Rock, it's like, dude, he's legitimately trying to be your friend. And I know backstage you guys probably are good buddies, but dude, you are such a dick to
This is your
Mankind.
life, Rock.
God, even though they had great segments,
Highest rated segment to date.
I think so, yeah. I just always felt bad for Mick Foley.
But I
really
feel like
did.
it played so well because you got this rich, silk wearing, rock type of guy. And then you got Mick Foley.
With his 10 cents get up.
And I feel like that's what made it work, you know? They don't have to be, you know, of the same walks of life. And I think that's what makes it work, personally.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. Like when it's like odd pairings, sometimes they work out great.
Well, I
sometimes
was
they
going to
don't.
say, odd pairings, I think that in recent memory, because I can't think of overall, but recent memory would have to be Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan.
Yeah.
I was like, this is stupid. This is just, and Jason Jordan, it's like the next Roman Reigns where they're trying to force him down your throat. Like, no, he's gonna be on the show and he's gonna have a match.
And his character was dumb, and the gimmick was dumb. Oh yeah, you're Kurt Angle's son, and he was so chipper all the time, but it kind of had this like false sweetness to it. So you're like, oh, but you're not actually that chipper. But then you're just peppered in as the Dean Ambrose substitute. So you could really say he was sweet and low. He was sweet and low Dean Ambrose.
Sweet and low.
We couldn't find another replacement. Everyone. We couldn't find anybody else.
They didn't. I don't think they wanted. I don't know if they thought Dean was going to be out as long as he was. So I think they were like, oh, we'll do this short term thing. We'll have Jordan kind of fill in, and then we'll turn him heel on it. And then Jordan got fucking hurt. So,
You go to Plan C.
which is move on until Dean is okay.
Name a funny pair.
Now,
that
when
was
you say
grouped up
funny,
to- like you like it worked.
Kane and Hurricane.
No, I mean, yeah, that's a good one. Mine,
Kane and Hurricane.
the Hurricane.
Right, 2002. No, I know who Hurricane is.
I was gonna say, like, really? You want to know one? Goldust and Booker T.
Yeah. After Goldust gets thrown into the fucking electrical box. And he basically turns into Jimmy from fucking South Park.
Pretty much. But that or the Golden Truth. Goldust.
I
and
was just
R-Truth.
thinking of our truth.
Anything with Goldust.
Or our truth, for that
Or
matter.
our truth. Awesome.
Well, our
awesome
truth is-
truth,
Yeah.
fabulous truth.
He always made it work. He always made it work with anybody.
Little Jimmy.
Truth and
Follow that?
Consequences. That wasn't him.
Oh, no, I gotta do the podcast. What?
It's okay, he probably just needs medication, that's all.
Who are you guys talking to?
What?
Man, you crazy.
But I like it.
I was gonna say, in recent memory, Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens.
Their team.
That you're not gonna deny that was great TV. It was funny,
Yeah, it was entertaining.
and
but-
and you can't tell me you didn't feel something when they had the whole Festival of Friendship thing.
Man, that was such a great bit.
Festival of
Chris Jericho's idea, by the way, which makes sense.
He's a funny dude.
He always has something amazing. Like, in any decade he's been in, it's always great.
How do you not like Chris Jericho?
Tell that to the non-Jerichoholics.
Yeah, Mitchell.
Mitchell.
There you go, guys. We just talked about some of our favorite tag teams, some of our despised tag teams, what the term tag team means to us. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you all next time.